All right, we're going to start streaming here. And let me share the link.
Okay. Did you already play the music intro, dude? I missed it.
Oh, you couldn't hear it?
Oh, I vaguely heard it.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if that was like the full experience or not.
That was it.
That was it. Cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that classic tune of ours, dude. This is pretty much the song we started out with. And you know what? It actually matches like the whole Rovi aesthetic very well.
Yeah, it does, right? It does.
Good song, dude. It has very what's the word I'm looking for? Like mass application.
Good chill vibes. Yeah, I mean, if you don't recognize that song, it comes from our audio podcast that we've been. That's the first thing that we started here in this organization that we've done, and we spent a lot of time trying to figure out what that song was. But once we found it, I was like, this is it. So yeah.
Okay, right. So you posted the YouTube link?
Yeah. So the link is there. We got a couple giveaways to do. We got a Pope, obviously, and then we have the Rovi transporter that we're going to give away towards the end. So a lot happened over the last couple of days, man. You missed the unboxing. We had everybody unbox their superchargers, and there's still a few people who still need to unbox. If you decide to do that, I did get a bunch of DMs on whether or not it made sense to unbox, and really, it's like. It's a speculative question. Like, it depends on, I guess, how you see things. If you're a huge speculator, then it might make sense not to unbox. But if you're a gamer or you're a player, you want to use these as a form of play to earn experience, then unboxing would probably be the best bet for you. So it really depends on the person. So bad photographer, just unboxed mine today. Got mixed results. Yeah, there were some people who got like 1% on strength or 1% on intellect. And there were a few people that got like 98% on one or the other. So it was pretty even across the board. But do not despair for those who got 1%ers. You'll be able to upgrade your Rovi. Like you can't change the stats in like individually, but you can improve the overall battle statistics for each Rovi. And all you got to do is and jump into the play to earn play, what's it called? A player versus environment, and collect some loot, upgrade your Rovi, and then you'll have a better overall bot than what you started with. So yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for showing up on Thursday, obviously showing up today, and let's start with the PO app. Let's start with the PO app. And So same process as before. We're kind of doing a little bit of research on which bot to use kind of like in the near future. The popular one is the Boomergon bot by ERC. So we're going to look into that. And I don't know of any other bots that kind of suit this, but I think Boomergon's the best. Okay, so the password for the Pope, and make sure you DM the POAP bot. And I type this guy out here. POAP bot. And the password is Rovi Flex. One word, all lowercase. Rovi Flex. Okay, there it is.
The Rovi Flex, eh? What are we flexing, Willis? Why Rovi Flex, dude?
Dude, unique battle bots, man. Come on.
So it's time to flex your Rovies, right? It's about time. So yeah, man. Yeah, it sucks that I missed that grand event because I remember the unboxing of the transporters to unveil the superchargers. Dude, that was super awesome to witness. Just because you visualize that moment, and you see it, and it's like, holy shit! Like, this is wild. So explain to me, how is the Rovi unboxing? Like, was it equally as cool?
Oh yeah, because I think the main idea for this unboxing was just kind of reveal the RNG stats. And all of them were procedurally generated upon like actual unboxing, and a lot of people did get a lot of high like scores, I guess, high percentages. And I think the highest one that I saw, like in terms of flawlessness, which is a number that represents your overall score, I think the highest one was like 57%.
Okay. Damn, so Kim Possible got a good one then, 55%.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Kim Possible got a really high score.
Oh, you can
And
see, tell by the bars too, right at the bottom.
that's right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so for the most part, those bars are unchangeable. We were debating on the battery if you could upgrade it. We still haven't really decided on if you could do that. Um, but I think it might make sense to have everybody's battery be upgradable so that like there isn't that much disparity or differences between like people that can battle more often than those that can't.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's the idea behind that. But the other attributes would be definitely locked. The strength, defense, and intellect, those are definitely locked. I think the battery is the only variable here. But
Gotcha.
other than that, you'll be able to upgrade your Rovies, and then that'll be the kind of like the dominant probably activity for Rovies for a while, and then we'll release the PvP, and then we got the token to release, of course, and all this will start making more sense once these like components are out there.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely that. There's and then of course the Rovi Matrix metaverse angle as well. How we want to roll that out,
Yeah.
et cetera, et cetera.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's true. And so we were just talking about the Rovi Matrix just a few minutes ago, and it was more around like if you have a Rovi, you'll have like exclusive access to the metaverse. But I think I don't know if that makes the most sense. Well, I think anybody should be able to jump into this world, but if they don't have a Rovi, they don't get to like really do much in that world. But we'll still trying to figure that out. And then once we have like a good prototype going, we can share with you guys, and we'll get some feedback. Mr. Daly can't DM the Poat bot. Go to your privacy settings on this Discord server and change your privacy settings. I think that's causing that.
Ajax asked, well, we have to purchase stuff for our robot, or is it stuff we can grind for in PvE to earn?
Yeah, so PvE, you do have to use the token to get in and grind. But that's why it's important to first get that token out there. And then there's going to be a distribution of the token just so you can start playing. And then you can use that token to jump in and start earning the loot to upgrade your Rovi. So the idea here is that if you don't know kind of like the premise of this game, is we want to distribute the game contents, the game functions to the community and have the community host these functions. And since, Decentraland land is relatively expensive, not everybody has DCL land. And then that's why the Rovi Matrix is going to play a huge role here in terms of the play to earn stuff. Because if you have a Rovi, you'll get a land, and then you can start participating and hosting the game on your own land in that metaverse. Tudorica, looks like this was the best. Yeah, 58%. There you go. Yeah, I think that is the highest one that I saw yesterday.
Oh no, dude. Juxon says it's not working.
Okay. If Juxon says not working, it's definitely not working.
Crypto Angel, I'm getting the confused emoji when I message the bot. Oh snap, dude.
Yeah, I don't
All right,
think
what's going on?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's is working. Let me check the Poat bot to see if it's online right now.
So
Oh,
earlier you're saying it worked. That's weird.
Dang. That's definitely weird. Okay, 1 second, guys. Let me check the Poat bot here. Okay, it's definitely online. So not sure what's causing that.
It's a freaking bad bot, dude. Why does it keep doing this?
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying is like these bots are not reliable. Anubis Priest got the Pope. Citrons work for me. K-Day. Same, no issue with it. All right, well, for those who do have an issue, just wait till the end and try again. If that doesn't work, then just send me your ETH address and we'll take care of it.
Cool, right on, right on.
One question that Oscar did have is, I mean, we could do our own like custom popes, but I guess my initial reaction to that is like, yeah, we could do that from like the platform, and then you guys get issued these real NFTs, right, on Polygon. But I don't know. I think there's an element of network effect with the Pope that people would just rather have that. because of the network effect, not anything else. Because for the most part, they're just a representation that you showed up somewhere. But and then yeah, you can use them to do giveaways and stuff. But because there's so many bots, I mean, you're diluting yourself that chance.
Is
So
there a marketplace yet for these POAPs, like where people can freely trade and etc.?
that's a good question because a lot of it is on Xdite chains. So I don't know if there's a market. Yeah, there is Drayarch.
Okay, yeah, that's a big deal then.
Yeah.
Like you want to be part of that ecosystem, right? So by us like minting our own versions of a POAP, it's like we have to restart this whole ecosystem, this trading ecosystem, right? Which is, I mean, it's achievable, but is that really what we want to be doing? Like POAP already exists, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah,
well-established protocol.
agreed.
You know?
I don't think we need to reinvent the wheel.
Exactly. Yeah. Everybody seems to like them. I like them too. They're pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's really up to us to like, it's up to anybody who creates one of these things to like implement some kind of use case for them, right? So, I mean, we already have that in mind. We like the idea of the POAPs because it's in the hands. Well, it's supposed to be in the hands of the most active and the most engaged community members. So therefore, it's like the perfect metric to assign, value.
Yeah,
kind of.
I don't know if you guys have joined the Pope Discord, but every now and then they keep posting that those cartels out there that are sharing passwords and stuff, like it's definitely not what they're intending for them to happen, right? So they're
What's the deal with that? It's just because are they worth money? Like, can people buy them?
I'm speculating they do that because of the slight chance that whatever project they're collecting are going to do some giveaway using Popes. And so they're just giving themselves at least some semblance of chance.
Gotcha. And then that stuff's worth some kind of there's some liquid value in those giveaway items, most likely. Okay.
And I know Decentraland has used that before. I mean, if you collected like 7 during some sort of event that they had, then you were entered in some raffle to win wearables or something. And so, I mean, they've used it and it's successful. It's just with this cartel out there, I don't know. I mean, if it gives like legitimate communities a chance to win anything when it's like diluted, right?
Yeah. Apparently, the Mutant Apes POAP was being sold.
Oh, really?
Not surprised, dude.
Yeah.
Not surprised. People do sell them. Okay. Well, there you go, dude. Yeah, that's pretty. It's interesting. That's a whole dynamic thing going on over there in the POAP universe, which is pretty cool. And who knows what it's going to turn into?
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much standardized at this point. Like if you want like a community tool, like we said, to like assign, or not assign, just to prove. Dude, why am I making it so difficult? Prove your attendance, right? That's what it's freaking called.
Yeah.
To prove your attendance to these things.
Yeah, I mean, we were using Popes back in the day when it was on ETH mainnet, and we were paying in the Decentraland like events. We were paying like $35 for gas fees minimum to get those Popes. That was crazy, dude. Like, why? I mean, since it was on mainnet, I was like, that was the only choice. But anyway, going back to Rovi's though. We did have like a very successful sort of unboxing. I mean, everybody got their bots, and right now the focus is trying to get the next phase of this game released, and that next phase is going to be the hologram, and that hologram just allows you to kind of showcase your Rovi in world. And at that point, once you're able to showcase, then you'll be able to, I guess, take that Rovi, put it into a PvE meta, and then start collecting those assets. So one of the things that we want to establish, like in the next couple of weeks, is these releases where I think the idea before we actually solidify the mechanics of the game, what we want to do is we want you guys to play the game. Right, play the game at no cost. Just like give us some feedback on like the balance and everything, and then once we get that feedback, we start implementing like the important balances in the game. Then we can start thinking about how we're going to release, this token and figure out like what the distribution process is and like the liquidity and all that stuff that we got to figure out, right? So, and then once that token's out there, then like the game is officially started. Now you can actually upgrade your Rovi, pay to collect those 1155 tokens to upgrade your Rovi. and then eventually once the PvP is released, then you can jump in and start battling people with MMR and other aspects that we still need to kind of build into the PvP stuff. So it's going to be exciting. A lot of this stuff should be released before the end of the year. We have roughly 2.5 months, and the focus is to start getting the PvE experience kind of solidified with you guys. And yeah, that's the whole rollout plan that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, subject to potentially change, based on new ideas, essentially. Like, you never know. Like, us as a community could figure out something, because we just did that last week, right? During our community call, we've kind of like, it's not set in stone yet, but it's definitely like a solid concept for future Rovi rollouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the content distribution itself. So yeah, this model has to be, I think, discussed a little bit more, just for it to be like set in stone, I think. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
this is all uncharted territory. So we don't know what's optimal, what's the best thing to do.
And that's why I like having these conversations every week, because as we're kind of discussing like the game, mechanics and figuring out like the best balance, we have that ability to kind of bounce off those ideas off of you guys. And if you guys seen a better mechanic implemented in some other game or some other experience you had, we need to, stand on the shoulders of giants and really leverage that, just like we did with the last the roundtable that we had, which was extremely helpful in the design of like the replication process, or in this case breeding, where since if you look at the Rovi matrix here, and let me kind of zoom in what I'm talking about, or the codex, is there's 5 numbers, and those 5 numbers represent your unique Rovi. And so the idea here is that you'll be able to replicate up to 5 times, but every subsequent replication, the result replicant can only do X minus 1. So if this is the first time you're replicating, your resultant replicant can only do 4, right? Instead of 5. Mm-hmm. And so this adds value to the original Rovis that can be purchased. And then, there's a limit, right? There's like some inherent cap with the amount of replication that could occur. So a lot of this stuff came from the roundtable, right? And the collective mind hive is much more valuable than just having like 3 minds think about the best way to implement some style of a game. So that's why we like to do this often. And once we get a lot of the gameplay mechanics out there, we're definitely going to have the roundtable more often than a month, right? Monthly.
Yeah, agreed. Ajax with another good question. How many Rovi zones are currently in Decentraland? And is there a list of additional zones planning on adding when it officially launches?
So that's what's interesting. So I think the implication of that question assumes that we're just like purchasing land and like having a zone of ourselves and we're hosting the game. I think that's the assumption there, and it's otherwise normally a good assumption because that's typically what happens, but what we're doing is a little bit differently. So instead of a zone or a land that we purchase, it is a land that the community hosts, right? If they have their own land, you can acquire this hologram meta just for the sake of this conversation, where it allows you to represent your Rovi on your land. So once you deploy that on your land, then that's the place where Rovis can roam, right? And so you show up on that land and you see your unique Rovi, and that's what hosting the game means. And now think a little bit more into the future, where you're hosting the PvE game, right? The player versus environment, where your Rovis are battling enemies. That's going to be hosted by the community as well. And so that's the whole premise of this game and this style, is that the community really is the game, right?
Yeah. So the base foundational layer to the game is the deployable access zone, which is the hologram meta, right? Like that's what, at least at the bare minimum, that's what gets the Rovis to exist in the metaverse, right?
Yes.
And it's going to be what we build on top of from there.
Yeah.
Right. As long as you have your Rovi hologram meta deployed in your zone, any other meta is all of a sudden becomes compatible, because now you can start adding on the game, the actual interactive content for your Rovis to participate in.
Sure.
You yourself.
Sure.
So as far as distribution of that very essential foundational piece, I guess, yeah, we're still figuring out what's the best rollout strategy, right? Because it's so essential. Like we want it in the hands of as many landowners as possible, right?
Yes.
So because the more distributed the holograms are, the more access Rovi operators like yourselves have to, engage with content in the metaverse. So yeah, it would be a huge mistake if for whatever reason we just created this super high barrier access to like owning these holograms, right? Like, because that would just limit the game.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and to be clear, you don't need a hologram meta in order to like host a PvE or PvP or replicator. You just, if you want to have people show up to your land and you want them to be able to see your Rovies and see their Rovies and all that, then you do need a hologram meta. But the hologram meta is just a visual kind of like deployment of your Rovies, but the game itself is going to be it's going to be focused on the PvE and PvP, and then all the other metas, right? Other NFTs that support the game are like the replicator, the assimilator, like basically all these other game functions down here in the roadmap. That these are all like support the game, and I think if you think about it from like an economic standpoint, the PvP meta, which pays the winner, right, pays out the winner from the treasury, that's the only function in the game that adds tokens in circulation, right? Other than like the airdrop, I think that's the only function that adds circulation to the game economy itself. So the PvP is probably the single most important meta and function of the game, because it gives the incentive for players to play, right? Play to earn, right? But all the other stuff are equally, I mean, a little bit less important because it's more like support, but all those other metas will cost the players some amount of tokens, right? Because you're replicating or you're upgrading or you're crafting a weapon or whatever. But that's an interesting kind of something to think about, like as a community, is like the only function out there that adds to the circulation supply is the PvP. So that's kind of cool. Something cool to think about, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Everything's cool to think about, dude.
All right. So did I hear the word Pope? Yeah. So DM the Poet bot. Some people have a hard time with this, others not. But DM the Poet bot, and the password is Rovi Flex. One word, all lowercase.
All right. Right on.
All right.
What's the final decision on the transporter, since it was talked about providing only Rovi in the near future?
That's what it was. Okay, so you missed the conversation. I think it was the unboxing event where we were talking about. Let me kind of set the stage for this conversation. We were talking about how it might make sense to completely lock off the amount of transporters. Like, let's say we lock it off today. And then every subsequent purchase of a Rovi is just the Rovi itself. And it's the same price, right? So those who got in got 3 NFTs, and those who get in, like, theoretically today would only get 1 NFT, which is just a Rovi. So we haven't officially asked this question. I guess we can ask that today, and we want consensus, right? Or thoughts, ideas on whether we should do that, and does it make sense to do that? What do you think first, Iman?
Is the original thesis of this because we just don't want an oversaturation of these metas potentially? It makes them less. I mean, from a gameplay perspective, obviously from a gamer perspective, it'd be pretty cool. Like, wherever you are, if you have 10,000 transporters and superchargers like within the ecosystem, it's a pretty good chance you're not going to have to do as much cumbersome running around or navigating whatever coordinate depot that exists where you could find these things. They're going to be close by the more there are. So if you make this more of a scarce asset, then it raises the difficulty from a player perspective, right? Which is not a bad thing. I like difficult games. I don't know about you guys. Like it's weird because I'm split. Like, this whole metaverse thesis, like, play to earn, a lot of game designers and I don't know. It's like it's in a very early stage, right? This whole play to earn experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you want the game like a more simple game experience so that the players who are engaging with it, they can earn a little more efficiently with less, less of a learning curve?
Sure.
Or do we
Sure.
want to make it like an actual challenging game experience, right? Like, I think, yeah, these are the questions that, game designers have to think about. So in my opinion, I think a balance of both is good. So
Yeah,
it's not a bad idea. I think it's okay.
Yeah, and what if we still sold the supercharger and the transporter at, like, I don't know, at some cost less than 0.1 ETH, right, that we have right now, but it's some nominal cost that they can, players who want these things can still get them. But the main purchase here would be the Rovies, right? And that's going to remain the same, but it's only just the Rovi itself and not the.
Yeah.
So you won't get the.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
How did that idea or question come about? Like somebody in the chat just like threw it out there?
I don't know. No, I don't know if it came from the community, but I want to say that it was a conversation between me and Oscar. It's like, what if we kind of locked off transporter, I guess, purchases?
Yeah.
Like, what would the implications be for something like that? All right, let's see what are some of the thoughts here.
Yeah, some of you guys are answering this question.
Okay, so let's see. How big is the dev team working on this currently? So, hold on, let me see. Okay, I missed some questions here. Okay, Tudorica, on the website, it's written that the first Genesis will have 100K Rovies on top of the initial 10,101. If we follow the breeding scheme, we will get more than that. So, question, how many Rovies will there be? Yeah, that's a very good question. Okay, so the amount of Rovies you can purchase is capped at 10,100, and then you can replicate beyond the initial 10,000 up to 100K. And so when talking about replicating in this scheme where we have like a max 5 replications, there is definitely a cap up to 100K, right? So even though, let's say we get to a point where we're reaching like 99,000 Rovies like in circulation, and we're reaching the last little bit of them. If you still have like 5 left or 4 left replications in your Rovies, just because you haven't replicated or whatever, then and the last one is found, like the 100,000th one is found or replicated, then that's it. There's no more. Now, when it comes to like expanding the game, there is a way where we can expand it where we have 10 new perfect Rovies, right? But by the time 100,000 are found, someone out there, at least maybe 10 people out there, have one perfect Rovi, right, out of the 100,000. So if we introduce 10 new perfect Rovies, then the permutations go from 100,000 to 3 million. And so at that point, then it's really going to be up to like the community to scale it, whether we increase the amount of experience points that's needed to replicate, or we throttle that. So that's a conversation the community will have like once we get to that point. But that's the overall arching idea for that. Does that make sense, man?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think it does. And with the addition of the added difficulty for breeding, I think it's a fair system. Like with the fact that you have to mature your Rovies in order for them to replicate. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Another question here is, any idea how much the hologram meta will cost? We haven't established that yet. We haven't established that yet, but it's going to be relatively inexpensive because really this is really to show. It's going to be connected to a WebSocket server, right? And when people go to that land, you'll be able to see each other's Rovies, like exactly where the position is. And so it's going to be a relatively complicated meta, like sophisticated meta. I don't want to say complicated. But its inherent value is that you can kind of show off your Rovies, right? And people can come and like flex, which Rovi that they have. And so it's a relatively straightforward meta, so therefore it's going to be relatively inexpensive. And so that's kind of the underlying idea behind that one. How big is the dev team working on this? So right now it's mainly Oscar. He's working on this, and so just to kind of frame, exactly what's happening. So when building out a platform, something new like MetaZone that hasn't really been in existence before, the right approach to building something like this is the approach that is very common, like in the entrepreneur space. It's building an MVP, the minimum viable product. And so that's what we did in like the initial kind of genesis of MetaZones. Like, what if we created a marketplace where people created and submitted stuff, and that stuff could then be deployed pretty quickly in Decentraland, and then that stuff would be NFT. So what would that look like? And so we kind of built that out. We kind of proved that it can work, and so now when kind of solidifying the platform and making everything based on smart contracts, we need to take the extreme spectrum where a creator wants to make a game and actually understand what that creator needs to build in terms of creating a game where the game is distributed. And so that's what Oscar's doing, because we can't really know beforehand. It's like, okay, let's just create a platform where we make things easy, but we don't know what easy things need to be done, right? And so Oscar's saying is like, well, if we made a game, then we'd understand specifically what creators need. And that's what we're doing with Rovi's, and that's the whole like development ideology that we're taking with this. Hopefully that answers the question.
Okay, and it looks like those who chimed in on the capping of transporter superchargers, yeah, they seem to be in favor of it, which, assuming everybody here is holding at least one of the two or both.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised, right? Us early generation of adopters,
Yeah.
we want to be bigger players in the ecosystem from that respect, right?
Sure.
If we do cap it, for sure, everybody who owns these, let's call them origin assets, origin Rovi's, origin metas, I mean, yeah, it's pretty what's the word I'm looking for? It's pretty baller, dude.
Prestigious, I guess.
Let's just call it baller, dude.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So Cuddy Boy, he says, cap the transporters and superchargers for early entry reward. Yep. Okay, so we got 1 and 4. Greensfur, I think the idea of limiting the supercharger transporter would be a brilliant idea. Tranquilo, I am for stopping new transporters. This is an incentive for early movers. Yep. Okay. Because even as of now, the supply is getting a little high thinking in terms of utility. Yeah. So I agree. I agree in a certain sense, but think about this. Like, in the grand scheme of things, 10,000 is not a very big number. And when we're looking at play to earn blockchain games, and you look at traditional gaming, like we're talking about a pixel versus, a whole picture, right? And blockchain gaming is like a pixel size compared to traditional gaming. And so when you're looking at the different sizes of communities, like there's so a huge amount of growth left over in the blockchain gaming space that 10,000 is like nothing. So for now, 10,000 does seem like a lot, but in the future, it's not. It's going to be nothing, right? There's going to be millions of players in blockchain gaming space, so I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. And in the idea of like a sustainable game, you have to take into account like a lot of players, right? Not just the 10,000. So that's kind of how we're thinking about it as well.
Yeah, I think that applies for the Rovi's itself. But yeah, maybe, well, considering, these meta assets for this game verse are going to be interoperable, meaning, they exist in Decentraland and in the Rovi matrix and potentially whatever metaverse that spins up through the MetaZone ecosystem into the future. We want them to be applicable in those metaverses, right? So if that ends up being, realized, this vision we have, this understanding what we think the true metaverse looks like, then all of a sudden 10,000 superchargers doesn't look like that many, But if we do end up being like these siloed ecosystem metaverses, like 10,000 superchargers in Decentraland is it's it's kind of a lot. It means like one out of every what, 9
Well,
parcels
yeah,
is
right.
going to have like some kind of Rovi meta deployed on it. Most
Right.
well, assuming everybody deploys their asset, so
Mm-hmm.
or installs it. So yeah, I mean, it's true. Like it can get a little saturated and just a little redundant. Like, oh man, like it's like, what's the point of me having this? What's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, like a common asset.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just diminishes the scarcity a bit. So yeah,
Yeah, but I don't know
yeah,
when it comes to gaming, I don't know if the scarcity is really all that valuable when it comes to like things that are not the main idea of the game. Like the main idea of this game is to battle, right? Play to earn. And so the surrounding supporting functions, the scarcity, I don't know if that matters other than the fact that these generate revenue, right? So each time that people use these metas, right, it's going to cost. And that cost is going to be distributed to the landowner and the meta owner. And sometimes it's the same person. Sometimes it's not. So, so that's the idea is like,
no, I think it matters from like the franchisee perspective, like the meta architect, whoever's the person out there who's going to create, Swooty Land.
yeah.
Like, and he's going to pile on like all of these, you know, this
Functions.
NFTs with utility, right? The
Yeah.
game content itself. Like if you can create this experience that's, very unique because it has all these awesome features to it,
Yeah.
and it's going to attract a lot of players, right? So if there's too much abundance of this utility, like, it kind of diminishes his role as that, prime franchisee, right? Or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. Like, let's call them meta architects,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
agree.
So this is interesting. Yeah. It's an interesting question and thought. And I'm starting to lean towards the screw it, dude. Let's just like assign a cap.
Yeah.
Everyone here who's here early, like this is going to be your role. Like you guys got assigned the responsibility of owning the initial content. So yeah, it's up to you guys to deploy it
Yep.
responsibly. Just always know in the back of your head, by you installing this content, you're supporting the ecosystem, you're getting everything off the ground. And yeah, that's your role, right? Like you are the origin operator. So let's get the ball going,
Trey Waters, are you saying that the transporters would be available up to 10K, but not as a 3-in-1? So I guess the real question here is if we make this cutoff point where when you purchase a Rovi, you're not purchasing a transporter that has a supercharger and then a Rovi. You're purchasing just a Rovi. So I guess the question is, if we do that, maybe we shouldn't sell the transporters at all or the superchargers at all until some later point where there's like an actual functional need. Maybe there won't be, right? Maybe there won't be. Maybe all the people who have transporters and superchargers are sufficiently deployed where the game can sustain itself with that deployment, and there's no need to sell beyond that. So, so maybe we'll cut it off and we'll set some date, like in the future, like a week or two from now, where it's like this is the last chance to get a 3-in-1 NFT, and then after that, it's just a single Rovi. So, I guess what we'll do is we'll talk it over with Corv, like from a technical standpoint, because he's got to make some changes. But other than that, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, I think 1,500 is a good number. Like we kind of already had it in our head, like capping at 1,500 would be like a good like origin stopping point or something like that. I don't know. 1,500, we had that number in our head for something, but because we want to release different metas and different crews of Rovies after the fact. So each crew is going to have some kind of association to the new metas that are rolling out, right? As far as like perks or benefits or like discounts to wanting to host that content also.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think, So once Oscar is available and all three of us are chit-chatting, I think we could. We need a little freaking gavel or something.
Yeah,
dude.
right.
Like, the lighter.
Yeah,
it's like
it's official.
It's been enacted. It's official. It was like the community has decided, dude. It's like it's now law.
Yeah,
Rovi law.
If you're getting that message that says your message cannot be delivered because you don't share a server, check your privacy settings and then try again because that should do it. Okay. Yeah, I guess the bot isn't working for some people and it is for others. Max from the block. I say cap the sale of superchargers and transporters to sell Rovies. Okay. 10,000 ID, nothing. No round table today, Greensifer. So what we'll do is we'll bring people from the community to chat about some updates, but we want to give you like something to chew on, right? And something to chew on would be kind of revolving around the game. And once that's released, then we can bring on people to kind of talk about how to improve or get some feedback.
Okay. Right on, right on. Yeah, so I think we should deploy the bot now, shouldn't we?
Yes, let's do that. Okay, so kind of read through some of the questions there and call them out, Iman, as I get this bot going. So one of you is going to win a Rovi transporter. That's a 3-in-1, by the way. Okay, let's get this thing going. Okay.
1,500 is even better. Yeah, Greensifer agrees with me. Cool. And yes, cap it increases its value. Where'd he go? And being here. Oh no. Yeah, I agree, Tudorika. Oh damn. Where are all these GIFs coming in? Okay. Think beginning to sound a bit like Axie's with breeding and earning income. Yeah, I mean Axie's always going to. They've earned that.
Yes.
Archetype, like reference,
yes.
right? Like any play to earn ecosystem that comes after Axie's, that you're always going to look back and like, oh man, I could see the similarities, right? Just like every crypto that came after Bitcoin is like, oh snap, oh yeah, oh it makes sense, right? Like these digital currencies, I wonder where they got that idea from, it's kind of the same thing. Let's see, what's the amount sold so far? I purchased a few Rovies, but I want to buy more now if there's going to be a cap. See, that's the thing. The amount sold so far, I think, Will, you said like around 1,200?
Yeah, it's around 1,200 transporters, yes.
And I think around like 350 or so have been unboxed all the way through to the Rovi part, right? So like there's 3 unboxings. There's, 2. So you unbox the transporter to get a supercharger, then you unbox your supercharger to get your Rovi. So really, there's only about 300 or so Rovies in
can play
alive at the moment, activated, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we're talking just now. We just had a 30-minute conversation about capping the supply of transporters, right? So yeah, if we do, you can only buy a Rovi. So.
Okay, let me chime in here. So the giveaway bot has been launched. Go to the live chat and hit the pin at the very top, and then you'll see the giveaway. Just react to that, little confetti, and you're in. All right, cool. Okay, so fix privacy settings. Now it's thinking. All right, so yeah, I guess the Pope isn't working for some. If it's not working for you towards the end of the call, like after the call, just DM me your ETH address, and then we'll fix that. First brain. So what's the secret word? Secret word is Rovi Flex, all lowercase, no space. Yeah, I guess some people it doesn't work. Not sure why.
Damn, it's a bummer. Damn. Yeah, just keep trying, guys. I mean, that's really all we could say. I mean, Will's, I'm sure, tiddling around with, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll send you the address if not working by the end. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, just send me your ETH address at the end after the call, if it's not working, and then we'll figure it out. All right. So it looks like we have some consensus from the communities, like we should cap the transporters. And so what we'll do, you'll know that this is like official when we make the announcement that you have like, let's say, a week or two to purchase these 3-in-1 NFTs. And then and of course, right now, if you purchase an NFT or a Rovi transporter, you are getting the Unleashed crew. So that's going to give you the benefits of which meta what was it? I forget which meta that was. Okay, what's the secret word for? Uh, Loose Tafari, DM that secret word to the POAP bot, and I'll type the bot in again. For some reason, it's not working for everybody, but it might work.
POAP bot hasn't worked for me since September 27th. The deuce. Oh no, dude.
Max. So Max, have you used this POAP bot, or have you seen this POAP bot in other servers? Does it work there? Dang, that's super weird. So you used it 2 times in other servers? Huh. Interesting. Can you guys double check your privacy settings on this server and make sure it's, what is it, enabled? Yeah, it's enabled. I've used in this server and it's worked before. I have DMs enabled. Interesting. Huh. Okay, it looks like a lot of you are having trouble here. All right, well, I'll have to spend some time kind of looking at the configurations of like DMing and all this stuff for the POAP bot. Or maybe we just ran out because of the damn cartel. I doubt it though. Because the last one from last Thursday, I think we had like 146 minted or something like that. What's going on, Big Ben?
Yo, what up, Ben? Everybody's getting the this guy.
Yeah, because if you go look at what that little chin emoji means, it means you ran out of codes. But I don't think that's true.
Damn, dude, are we getting sniped that hard? I hope not. But it feels like we did, because it seems like everybody who came in later is like the Pope's just not happening. Damn, man.
Okay, well, I mean, again, if you guys are listening to me, just if it doesn't work at the end of the call, just DM me your ETH address. Let me know it's about the Pope, and then we'll get that out to you guys.
Mm-hmm. All right, crisis averted once again, dude. Well played, Will.
Yeah, good old Pope bot action.
I know, man. They're trying their hardest, dude. I think. At least I hope they are. Or maybe it's a Discord issue. It's not even POAP.
Do we need the Pope for anything later? Potentially we can use it for giveaways, but like, I don't know if we want to reward the cartel out there. First brain, the Pope bot only works with a secret word which obviously wasn't delivered today. Otherwise, there should be a Pope booth right in the site. Well, the Pope bot was definitely loaded because some people got it. First brain, the password is Rovi Flex, all lowercase, no space.
There it is. I just typed it in.
Yeah.
Rovi Flex.
JSO. Yep, I got it. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. This is a interesting problem. Didn't work for me, Big Ben. Okay.
Yeah, just DM Cypher Will, guys. Let them know. Just put a message POAP, and then what else? Your ETH address.
Yeah, ETH address. Yeah, so to summarize today's discussion is we're focused on the next steps. We're trying to get closer and much faster to the actual gameplay experience, which is going to start with the PvE. And that's going to be the main focus for us, is making sure that that the game, like mechanics, because the whole point of the PvE is going to set the framework for the PvP, and it's supposed to train you to battle in the PvP. Right, that's like one of its functions. The other function, obviously, is to collect the loot. So once we have a balanced like understanding of what the battle is like, then we'll be able to transition to PvP much easier. Everybody will understand like exactly how to battle each other, and then that's where the real fun begins, because then it's a strategy type game. And so your flawlessness, which represents your overall quality, like for example here, if you're looking at the screen, this guy at 199 ETH at 51% flawlessness versus this guy at 48%. This is a pretty well balanced battle, right? And of course, it's going to be 3 versus 3. So this is just a singular example. And then on top of that, there's like these curveballs that are entered when you're retrofitting your Rovi with a battle axe or a hammer or whatever, these weapons. And so that will completely change like the dynamics of the game. So that's why I wouldn't get too down on like if you have a metric that's like 1%, like it will affect the game, but it won't affect it as much as you think. So just hang in there.
I wonder if we should do some kind of like scrapping mechanic for.
I was thinking about that.
It sounds so depressing to like scrap your Rovi.
Yeah,
but maybe that's not a bad idea for those who were not blessed by the Rovi gods.
Yeah,
like at a replication. You scrap it for
for parts,
materials, parts, and then you could reconstruct or assimilate some kind of new object or weapon or another Rovi, parts of a Rovi,
Sure. Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I also was thinking like maybe from a gameplay. That's why the gameplay is so important because let's say just for the sake of this example, you battle 3 times and your Rovi's like completely out of charge. So you have to go and charge the Rovi, right? And let's say it takes 24 hours to charge it, just for the sake of this example. In those 24 hours, it might be better to have a ton of Rovies so you can continue battling and collecting this loot and potentially continue battling in the PvP. And so scrapping them may not make sense, So that's kind of what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, I think it's too sad, dude. I couldn't imagine just taking a Rovi to the scrap shop, dude, just like butchering them into pieces. No way, dude. That hurts.
So Trey Waters, will scrapping a Rovi change the 100K limit of Rovis? Yeah, so you're essentially burning an NFT at that point. So it's deflationary.
Oh, there it is.
Dude, Hercules. Look at that.
Hercules.
Dude, congratulations, man.
Did you? What was that, dude? Did you play something?
Yeah, you can't hear that?
Not really.
What? You can't hear that?
I could hear it like super, super quietly, dude.
Really?
It's definitely an applause. Oh, TJ says he hears it loud and clear. Okay, maybe it's just me. Whatever.
Oh, that's weird.
I thought I heard like some robot sound effects.
Oh,
but I was wrong. All right, congrats, Hercules. What up? What up? Where you at? Are you in the chat? Let me see.
Yeah, I think Hercules was in here. Where you at, Hercules?
He hasn't responded with ecstatic joy.
Okay.
Juxton.
Yeah, Juxton is, how long will we have to unbox transporters? You have an infinite amount of time. You can unbox all the way into the future. So I wouldn't rush it if you feel rushed. Tranquilo, what is the average flawless percentage? Man, the average? Well, if the highest one we saw was like 58%, I don't know what the average is, but I'm gonna guess.
Ballpark like 20, 25.
Yeah, something like that.
That would be my estimate, because I heard some people got totally shafted and they're like 1%ers.
Yeah, well, 1% specifically on like an attribute, but overall it was like probably 27, 28, whatever it is.
Okay.
But we'll get those metrics out there for you for sure, because I do think it's important.
Rovi lives matter, dude. Doesn't matter if the Rovi was born a little gimped. You can still love it just as much, dude. Like it'll still, you'll be able to party with your Rovi. You can still make friends in the metaverse with your Rovi. There's gonna be lots you can do. You don't necessarily have to battle your Rovis, dude. It's obviously advantageous to do that, but we want to create a social atmosphere as well with your Rovis, right? It's not all about just murking each other all day long.
Yeah.
But yeah, we want to build relationships with each other's Rovies and stuff like that. So, dude, I mean, let's build the true. I don't want to call it MMO experience, but the true, okay, let's call it MMO experience. Let's see Rovi operators meeting in the metaverse and becoming like. I want to see a fucking Rovi wedding. Is what I'm trying to say. I want to see two people meet in the metaverse with their Rovies and then they get married, dude. Because that happened in World of Warcraft and stuff that. You know, that's the sign of a true successful, virtual world when people actually fall in love in the world. That's what's up.
Yeah, can you imagine these guys getting married right here, dude? Well, I guess you can't see. You can't see what I'm showing, but I got two Rovies right next to each other, kind of spinning.
That's funny.
There was a question here. I don't want to miss. Something about accessories. Like, what's the value of the accessories? So the accessories themselves are each unique, right? Each one is unique from each other, even though you might have like two different, like Bitcoin chess pieces. They're each unique. So they're supposed to enhance your Rovi as well. So those are going to be craftable. And these giveaways are like jumping the gun on that because these are not supposed to be like already like assembled. So those of you who have an accessory, like you're like way ahead, right? So so that's why it's important to join the roundtables because that's when we give out those accessories. But just remember, they're all unique and they're going to enhance your Rovi in one way or another, right? From attribute standpoint. So we got Hercules chiming in.
Sorry.
Congrats.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Iman.
No. They're memeing too hard, dude. I couldn't contain myself. What were you gonna say?
Hercules chimed in. Congrats, dude.
Oh, he chimed in? Yeah. Dude. Congrats, Herc. He came back from his poop or whatever he was doing.
Okay, 9-month roadmap. How will the Rovies make babies? 9-month roadmap.
How will they make babies?
Driftwood. Yeah, I just saw that. I'm way behind on the chat if you guys can't tell.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, lads.
Yep. So let's call it for today, Iman. Thank you for joining me. I know you've been busy. These calls are significantly important because we're able to adjust course a lot more frequently than maybe other projects are. And I like having these conversations with you guys, especially during the roundtable because it's more real time. But yeah, this is extremely helpful. And please don't hesitate to contact us if you have like an idea or you want us to join some YouTube channel or whatever. We're actively like hitting up a bunch of YouTubers, influencers, and stuff so we can talk to them about what we're doing. We're extremely excited about this just because I think it includes the community a lot more deeply than like most other games do. So I that's the most interesting part for me to kind of get this out there and get this like finally like distributed.
Yeah, it's so weird because like it is so fluid what we're doing here. Meaning like it's so hard to like set anything in stone just because we're asking the community feedback so frequently. Right. It's not like these like quarterly AMAs like most projects do, like in a freaking lame Telegram channel that nobody really cares about. But like that's why we get these great ideas from you guys. So it changes things very frequently. So it's difficult to come out with something like, what's industry standard, like a white paper. It's difficult to write something like that when there's constant change happening. Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like we need a new format of I guess this is it. Like, if you want like documentation of like the progression and like the plans of this project, like just attend these calls. Like that's the best thing you could do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's been our MO since like the beginning. Like we started this podcast in 2019. Like if you follow the podcast, you have the nuggets of like us discussing the idea of MetaZone in that podcast. And then we actually like built it. And when we talk about it on the podcast, and it's like this whole like timeline of progression from like the inception of MetaZone. So it is interesting if you care about like that stuff. But yeah, I mean that this is like 2 years running, so I don't expect everybody to go back. But having said that, I think one of my favorite podcast was the first one that we ever had. Because it was like, because what I did, I just turned on the microphone and we were just talking crypto like for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And
I remember that. And I was also like super sauced. I think that contributed, you know. I haven't been saucy much these days, but maybe I should get back on the bottle, dude. I don't know.
Yeah. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Okay. But we need to do more podcasts. You know, there's been a lot of, you know, resistance for us to meet and enter our studio.
Yeah, obviously.
For me personally, just because of the whole freaking COVID thing. I have like family members who are very susceptible to sickness, so like I really don't want to get sick.
Yeah, agreed.
You know? But I really do want to get back in the studio and start like, you know, making good content again.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, man. I mean, obviously this is a Rovi community call, but man, there's so many things happening in the crypto space that I'm itching to talk about. We just haven't had the time to like get together and like talk about this stuff because we've been so busy. But anyways, enough about us. We don't want to take more of your time. Thank you guys for being here. Like I said, this is important. We do this every single week, 6 p.m. UTC. We give away a Rovi transporter, maybe in the future just a Rovi. And yeah, we'll see you next week, exactly same time. And don't hesitate to contact us with anything, really. So until next week, we'll talk again. All right, guys.
Peace out, everybody. Later. Deuce.